Man, all the way, it's George Page coming to you live on YouTube. Actually, live on YouTube. I do this, I think, every about to the end of the month, where I just want to, talk about things, stuff going on in the world, stuff going on in bodybuilding. Just yesterday, just had a great panel. Shout out to Nicole Strauss. Shout out to Beverly Coleman. Shout out to my brother David Bryant. We talked about situations of coaches sexually propositioning their clients. If you want to check it out, the live it's in the my YouTube channel. Go into my live section. I was hoping to have some more guests, but I understand life happens, things are busy. But I really like to hear y'all ladies' feedback on this stuff because the fact is, this isn't your sport, and this is something you've seen or know or happened to yourself. But anyway, this week is peak week. This weekend we will have the Portugal Pro. It's one of the few shows outside of the U.S. that has women's bodybuilding. That's great because you know what? This month we had two shows, and both of them were outside the U.S. That was Toronto Super Show, and that was the Portugal, the Imperial in Spain. Shout out to those promoters that still keep women's bodybuilding, even physique and figure, at their shows. This month we have a few shows. I wish I could watch Portugal. I don't know. Maybe I can try to watch it. Catch the finals because they're in Portugal. I think Portugal is 5-6 hours ahead of U.S. Eastern Standard Time. So for me, when they're starting the finals, starting the prejudging, I get up early and try it, but the list will come out later. They will post a list of who's competing. There are some ladies who are confirmed competing, so I will. I'm already working on my video for that. In my posting for that show. So I just already got names who are confirmed, and the rest I just find out later this evening. Which usually the list will officially come out to like about 6 or 7 o'clock. I remember with Triple O, it was like, practically 10 o'clock. Shout out to Ken who was helping me in that live that night. I appreciate you, Ken, for keeping me up and we were supposed to be an interview with Gabby Vega, but things happened and we switched the interview for another time. So, folks, I'm hoping to have some more interviews next month. This was pretty good. Last month was not as good, but I had some great interviews with some great ladies. A couple ladies are right now going to be competing for their pro card. Some ladies are competing for Olympic qualification. I want to appreciate that. And also, if you heard the announcement, Sarah Bradley is now moving over to women's bodybuilding, and which is a good move, but she's not doing Olympia. And I feel like, I watched the video where she talked about it. She did Q&A and when she answered some questions, and she said the reason she didn't want to be dead last. But here the thing is, you shouldn't be going into the show thinking, okay, I understand you want to win, but again, you're going to be competing ladies who have been competing for a long time, who has put in the work. I would say just go there for the experience of it. I would love to go to Olympia, but I can't afford it. It is, just the nosebleed seats alone, that's expensive. If you get the VIP, they say that's $500. $500? What the? Ooh, that's. Ooh. I wouldn't mind going, but I usually would do this. If anybody interests me to go to shows, because I live on Social Security, it's not much. By the time I pay, it'll be a couple of days when I get my check. By the time I pay my light bill, my rent, groceries for the house, I have life insurance because that's most definitely most need it. Because after what happened to my mom, I know I most need that. I need to sit down and make a will because that helps out clear a lot of mess too. I gotta. Anybody recommend a great place, a lawyer or someplace I can go make a will? Let me know. If you don't have youngins, I do have brothers and sisters, and maybe I will split, everything among them and see what they want to do with it. Because funeral conversation. I told them, hey, I want to be cremated. Don't waste time buying a casket. You can put me in a little urn and take me out to where we used to live back in the country and put my ashes out. I like to be there. But I got to put that in my will too. So back to Sarah. You're a young lady. I think she's not even 30. She's 29, so she'll be probably turning 30 this year. And that's what a lot of young people. if it's that Bobby Ricky Bobby mentality, if you're not first, you're last, and it's quite prevalent in the bodybuilding world. I would say go for the experience of it. Go to check out what it is. You know, you would rather show the ladies that you compete in in the division you were in before and your future division. Have a good conversation. Especially as you know, I'm a big fan of Andrea Shaw. I know. I hope she don't think I'm weird, but I think she's beautiful. I do that for dramatic attention because I know I put my man David. I love David. He's my brother. But again, don't put your hand on my girl. But I just do that because it's my thing. It's the thing I do. And I would say go for the opportunity. If you don't, hey, if you're not going to compete, just go to check out, see what it is, because this is the biggest event in the bodybuilders. The Auto Classic, other than the amateurs, they don't have women's bodybuilding or women's physique, even figure anymore. So the Olympia is a big show. I would go just to say, you know what, just you see the feel of it, and I think you still pay for your costs or stuff like that. So, take the opportunity. Next year or maybe this year you can get qualification. It'd be something historical. Get qualifications within a year in two different divisions for the Olympia. I would say if you want to do shows, Romania Muscle Fest, that be the great show for your debut. It's in Romania. I don't know how much the cost is from Great Britain to Romania. It might be cheaper than coming to the States, and you don't have to do a lot of rigmarole because in America there's a lot of red tape, like whatever shit. I would say do that show. You have a whole year to sit out and chill. Use that time to rest, work on things, bring your conditioning. You can possibly get your Olympic qualification. That's only how far is it? Like another. That's about the 1st of November, and it's already the end of June. So you got from July, August, September, October. You got at least 4 months to get ready. You don't need to do too much. You're already there. Maybe make some improvements, and also the posing you have to work on, but you're already there. So possibly, most definitely, jump on that show. Especially, we need the bodies. Shout out to Lena Popa. Both she had the Lena show and also the Romania Muscle Fest. Also, while I'm here, I want to give a shout out to my dear friend Eunice Martinez. As you know, she just announced that she's going to be one of the promoters for women's bodybuilding sponsors. One of the sponsors for women's bodybuilding at the ATL Pro, the Lindenberg ATL Pro Super Show. I'm debating. As you know, I've been talking about planning on going to another show. I can go to Atlanta because my oldest niece stays up in Atlanta, and I could stay with her, save me a cost of motel, and I can get an Uber to the show. But I'm planning on the show I'm going to is up north, and I've never been up north. I never, I'm already looking at hotels. I'm going by train, but the situation with the train, I gotta see if, it works with the schedule. I mean, I've seen there's one where it works perfectly, but then there's an issue, and I gotta figure out that issue. I might have to, switch up some things and do something different. But I really want to go someplace else. I can always go, I've been to 2 shows already, and both from the South. That was the Savannah Pro and the Tampa Pro. And I want to go someplace. I would love to go to Chicago, but Chicago is half-assed. They're having women's bodybuilding this year, but in Masters, but not the Open. That's half-assed to me. I'm debating about watching it, maybe just watching the Masters part, because here's my thing. I will not, support shows that do not give women bodybuilding. I don't, like I said, I don't rarely buy pay-per-views for shows that don't have women's bodybuilding edit. I think I'm trying to remember. Did I buy Texas Pro one year? I think I did. I'm trying to remember. But that thing is, women's bodybuilding is the thing that got me started on this. It's the division that got me because I was a fan of the ladies. I remember as a kid. When I used to, I always got to pull this out. My brother used to get the muscle max, like muscle development, Ironman, Flex, Muscle and Fitness. These are the things I still got a bunch of these in a closet in the storage room with my comic books. My mom put my room up one day. She took all my comics and my magazines and put it into the storage room. Shout out to my mom. And I don't buy them too often because most places don't carry these magazines anymore. And like muscle development, they don't do paper print anymore. They are directly now online. and those this really battle was the division that got me into the sport. I mean, really, I would say the men got me because my brother used to collect the magazines. He used to lift weights and follow guys like Lee Haney and Lee Barabata and Samir Barnute, and I remember Arnold was still competing by the time I really got into it because I was see James is 6 years older than me, and he was playing high school football by the time he was um, 12, 13. And I was about 8 or 9 when I started looking through the magazines because the big muscle guys because as a little kid. But then when I started getting closer to my teenage years, it's about 11 or 12, and the women kind of just draw me in. People like Corey Eves and Carla Dunlap, Angela Langer, Julia Bergman, um, Ellen Von Mars, Diane Dennis. She has some pretty eyes. Can't forget Laura Craval, Andrea Harris White, who looks alike. If you look at her, I think that's the reason I like Andrea because she has that same look, the same. They could be related. You need to take a DNA test. Maybe slavery. A lot of people moved around a lot, so and different tribes and like that. Whatever we moved around a lot. You never know who you're related to. I watched that show, Finding Your Roots, and you find some celebrities who are related. And say, wow. And then you think about it, it's because of slavery. We were moved around a lot. If you were your father was sent from one plantation to another to help make more slaves. Your mother was moved around. Children were moved around. You never know who's your cousin. Till it happens. I'm thinking about doing one of those 21andMe DNA test things just for the hell of it. Me find stuff about myself and my family. Let's think about it. But back to Sarah, I understand the reason why you don't want to compete because you don't want to lose. But here's the thing is, it's not about losing. It's about the experience of going to the Olympia. Maybe again meeting so many legends, so many women compete in both women's bodybuilding, physique, and even other divisions. But see, that's what you want to do. You made up your mind. Cool. We're not going to talk more about it. But like I said again, you never want to miss out an opportunity like this. And like I said, but this is your life. This is what you want to do. But I'm just going to talk to you like you're one of my nieces. I'm talking to you like your uncle. Say, hey, and it's expensive. But you know what? Hey, money is hard to make. But you know what? Once you make it, you have it. I miss my days when I was working. And that's the problem with I was working a lot. I didn't have much time to go and do anything. I had 2 jobs, before I was 30. Working at a gas station and working at a textile plant, then working at a gas station, and I'm working at a strip club, here and there, to school for a little bit, and that was all right. And my mom always told me that she wished I stuck with the schooling because education is good. I was going to technical school, where technical schools you get to learn I was learning computers and stuff like that, and it was pretty good. But then I had an opportunity to work, and we got to get opportunity to make money. I was getting unemployment, but unemployment don't last for so long. But and then I was working and doing part time, but then I was offered more chance. That was a mistake. I regret. Honestly, regret. I was working when I was going to school, but they gave me more responsibilities. I regretted that, especially they didn't pay me all my money. So I should be the type of person being like, hey, give me my money. I'd be like, where's my money, man? Where's my money? But you know what? Money comes, money goes. So you get it back sometimes double. But yeah, I talk about how I wish bodybuilding was more lucrative for the competitors. Not just some women, but also the guys too. I've interviewed a couple of guys on here. Shout out to guys like John, also Autumn. Have some guys who come on with couples, with their wives and girlfriends. I appreciate them to sharing their stories and experiences. I'm open to interviewing guys, but as my challenge about the ladies, and the old saying, hey, it may not be the 80s, but I'm down with the ladies. So that's my saying. I created it. But I would like to do more if I can. Again, if anybody's interested, anytime I do my lives, there's my GoFundMe. That I delete that GoFundMe because whatever happened, I wasn't getting no donations. It shut down. But I do have a PayPal, a Venmo, and also a Cash App. So if you are interested in maybe supporting me in my endeavors, like I said, I'm planning on going to at least 3 shows. Two of them are going to be in the same place at the same time. I'm getting little clues. And one is going to be here in my home state of North Carolina. Even though it doesn't have neither women's bodybuilding or women's physique, it doesn't have a particular division I do pay attention to. So, I give you some clues. So, and, it'd be great to go to a show here. And there's a Charlotte Pro. But the thing with Charlotte Pro is it doesn't have particularly the divisions. It did have the one division that I did pay attention to, but it doesn't have it anymore. And that was Figure. This show does have that particular division. It's in Charlotte. So, and I'm hoping by the time my trip is done, I have some funds left over from it, where it's enough where I can fill it into next month. That's in October. And also, people donate to me. One thing I could do is rent a car. I can get my sister to help me get a car for rent. I got a license, I got a light bill, whatever I need. I just need some money for the motel. And also, I'll reach out to somebody and let me know what's a good motel, especially if you have motels where you have I remember when I stayed in Tampa, there's a motel, you have your own kitchen. But I can bring my own stuff. If I can bring like maybe all I need is just a fire, some stuff to cook in and some stuff and other stuff, and that's it. I'd probably get that while I'm there, because, and just, hey, I want to go eat out too much. But every now and then, you may want to enjoy the opportunity, because the last time I was Charlotte was, I would say about, 8 years ago. And that was when my mom had one of her seizures. She was in Laurinburg, which is like a good ways from Charlotte, and they had to transport her there because of her issues. That hospital, you have to take a specialist. So me and my sister, my little sister Betty, we drove her truck. She had a blue, it was a Nissan something. Betty watching this, I forget what kind of truck it was, a Nissan or something with blue. And we went there. We stayed with mom for a good bit and came back. On my way back, her wheelbarrow went. Oh, it was, she loved that truck. It was a good truck. We sat out there for a good, I would say, several hours. My sister Jean had to call and get us some help, get a tow. They came out, my sister Jean, my nephew Gabe, and my nephew Albert with his then husband at the time. Yes, my nephew is gay, so I love him. He's like my brother. We grew up together like brothers. You got a problem with him, you got a problem with me. And we sat there for a while. And my sister, she lives in Fayetteville, so she had to go a good ways away. And where we live was another hour from where we stayed at in Roland. I lived in Roland. My sister lived in back then. She was staying in Chadburn, and they dropped me off, and it was almost maybe I think 8 or 10 o'clock when we got home, maybe 9. I'm trying to remember, but it was an experience, and I know how to get there. But now, I know how to get to Charlotte. Like I said again, even though I don't travel a lot, I'm not much of a driver, but I have a problem with that. I'd like to go someplace different. I have the time. I don't have the money. When I had the money, I didn't have the time. When I had the time, I don't have the money. But I have the time. And use the time wisely, because I'm home most of the time. Other than when I go to the laundromat and go shopping or a doctor's appointment, I got to set one up because, I have issues because of arthritis in my knees. I got issues here. I got set up to see orthopedics, especially my knees, and check out some stuff. I got to make an appointment with my doctor next month to check on my vitals and stuff like that. Most definitely I need to take care of that stuff before I go on this trip. But it's a experience to go out into the world, and like again, I don't have no babies. I don't have no woman. And the woman I did have, tomorrow will be 6 years since she passed. 6 years. I made some mistakes, and but you know what? I had my family tell me, George, you did a good job, and I appreciate that. But I feel like I could have done a little more. But again, it's a situation that, if you ever been taking care of somebody like a family member who's been sick and going through stuff, it is tough. And so that can be heartbreaking. And seeing them, when they were strong and healthy, and and they did a lot of. My mother did so much for us. She was not a perfect woman. Like any person, she was not perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect being. No matter how much you think of it, no, everybody's going to be infallible. But this is an opportunity for me. I really want to get myself out there. I might do this. The one promoter I think I probably won't get that, but I might reach out to the other promoters, see if I can get, like my man David do, get some, get able to do some back scene recording stuff like that. David's been tagging me a lot of that. I appreciate you, man, for tagging me. You didn't have to, but I appreciate it. So when I do my trips and next time I do my stuff, I'll tag you back because you've been doing a lot for me. I mean, and you helped me because my man has blown up on IG, and he has really exploded in his says, oh, we got here from Finn says, yo there, Finn. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate it. But he's really blowing up. He's planning on going to another show. And he went to a couple of shows. He went to both to New York and he went to Shreveport, Louisiana. I wish I could do it. To WSG, brother, you gotta. I'm older. You gotta put it into full words. I don't do too many of these. Some of these little acronyms I catch, but the rest I'm still trying to catch up on. You see these glasses here, even though they're readers. And you look at his face, you see the gray. I'm old. I'm getting up there. So you gotta maybe expand it a little more for me. But I appreciate it. But I would like to go to more shows. Maybe I will go on a plane, but again, the cost of a plane is a lot. I mean, it's what's good. Thank you. Well, you should just say what's good, and just the S is attached to the. You children, you have your things. I'm getting to the point where I'm an old man where what's good. It could be WG. What's good? You don't need the S. Yeah, you babies are just gonna pick on you a little bit. But yeah, I'd like to go to more shows. I would say, where would I like to go? I'm thinking about this. I know I'm not going to afford the Olympia, and also, how it works through my like I said again, with my finances. Like I said again, I live on disability. I get a check every month, and by the time I pay my bills, I gotta hold on something. I might have to buy groceries maybe 2 or 3 times in the month because I gotta stretch my dollars. I'm trying to work on my weight, also change some things, some habits, and that's the hard part. So what are you talking about? Just nothing in particular. Just talking. Sometimes I just want to ramble a little bit. I don't have a subject. I'm just talking. But I would like to go to if they have it if they have it here in the States. I would like to go to the Masters Olympia because it's going to come in next year. They hadn't announced when they're going to have it and where they're going to have it just yet. Now I'm hearing some stories here and there, and if it's where I think it is, I think I can work with it. But it's depending on the timing of it. Because, like I said again, I I have to save. I have to take some little money out of my check and put it to the side, and put that towards savings. And if it's too early, it may be if it's like something. If it's like maybe later in the year, maybe right about maybe a week before the Olympia, or because I think Olympia's going to be September again, or they're going to move it back to October, depending. If it's the month before, where it's enough time, and I got to really, 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 really be tight with a dollar, and that's the hard part. Sometimes you got things happen. And here's the bonus: I don't have a car anymore, but I do need a car to get around, especially without the country where I live at. I have to either borrow one of my niece or my sister's car, or I can do a ride share. That's expensive. I have insurance where they do give you rides, but the problem is the last time I tried to set a ride for to take an appointment to go to the doctor appointment, they didn't have no rides. They go through Uber. I go through, I say, this is very rural out here. How can I send money to this chat to put towards your safe? Well, what you got to do is you go to check out my lives, and I have IG called $ all the rage. Give me a second. I don't have my, well, this is my other phone. So let me see. Okay, give me a second. Give me a second. Okay. Now, if you're in the U.S., ooh, if you're in the U.S., my Cash App. If you want to send to my Cash App, it's I'm waiting for the pop up. Come on, this is my old phone. It's cracked. I keep having to clean out the cinch every other day. Uh, what's this? Wait a minute. Okay. I gotta clean this. What there was one day I took in okay. All right. Gotta wait for the code. Code is. Let me check something quick. Code is 9907. Okay. Oh, you're in Ireland. So here's the thing: you have to use my what's that? Because you can't use because you're in New York, you can't use my Cash App. You have to use my I know it. Give me a second. Give me a second, Finn. Um, cause let me look something up real quick. My PayPal. My PayPal. Let me see something real quick. Wait a minute. Let me check some reviews. My PayPal. So what you do, Finn, is when you go to my lives, what I do is I put my PayPal in my lives in the strip. When you see it, it'll be like I think it's right between my Venmo and my Cash App. So you go to my YouTube channel, you go check out my lives, and you will see, you can pause it halfway through. We see the strip. I have a strip under where I do my lives, which has my Cash App, my Venmo, and my PayPal. You can go to my PayPal. Yeah, go ahead and check. Yeah, I don't have PayPal. Sorry. Ah, shit. Well, sorry, brother. This because I think Venmo is also US. So that's the thing. You have to for anybody. If I've done this, I know ladies who live overseas or who are out of the country, and the only way you can send them money sometimes is through PayPal because PayPal is world recognized. Cash App and Venmo, I think, are mostly US. I do appreciate it. No, no, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. No, don't no apologies. It happens like that way. But I do appreciate you offering that. Um, you know, um, I do appreciate that. Like I said, don't feel bad. Don't feel sorry. It's just how it is sometimes. But again, it's a very useful tool, especially if you want to help somebody or donate to a competitor who's not in America. I don't know what kind of a cash platform you have in Ireland. It's every different country have their own, but generally PayPal is world recognized. So if you ever want to donate to somebody, it's best to have a PayPal. I have one, and I had it for a long time. We had my Ken. Imagine Masters Olympia coming to North Carolina next year. Ooh, I would love it. I would love it to be in North Carolina. Most definitely. If it's someplace where I can get to, like maybe, Charlotte or Raleigh. It's been a long time. I can't remember my time in Raleigh. God, it's been forever. Probably Durham, something like that. But problem is, North Carolina is it'd be cheaper to do it in the South than to go up north, like do it like someplace like Pittsburgh or New York or Chicago or take it. Let's get away from Las Vegas. I would say a good place would have it in Orlando. I think Orlando would probably be a good place because that's where they had Olympia for a few years during the pandemic. The mistake they made back in 2022 was bringing it back to Vegas. What should have did was kept it in Orlando and make it since they already it was like it's been a couple years since the anniversary of almost a couple years since the anniversary of the Olympia, 60 years. If really thought about it, I said, you know what? Let's keep it here in Orlando, and we'll just around the corner for the anniversary. So let's move it back to Las Vegas for the anniversary. And I think they would like that better. You can really make it a big blowout. 60th anniversary and return the Olympia to Vegas. That would make more sense. Somebody would think. We have a man Jeff here. He says, "Hey George, I'm coming today." Okay, come today, come tomorrow. Don't come on me. So but I'm sorry, Jeff. I can be an ass sometimes. But back to I appreciate you again, Finn, and anybody who's interested in supporting me. Let me know. Again, you watch my lives. I'm having a live later today. Me, KL, and hoping a couple of more people. Jeff's gonna be there. We're gonna talk about some ladies who were like runner-ups, some who feel like should Miss Olympia or whatever, whatever reason. If we do a Miss Olympia of crowns, so we'll do like a generations, of some ladies who particularly were close to the title but didn't get it, whatever reason or whatever things, politics, whatever conditioning, all that. A lot of rigmarole. So we just have a little fun. But again, I mean, we're already over. Can you believe it? We're already halfway through 2026. Can you realize? I mean, we just started the new year, and we're already in this. This is the start of the summer. My plans for summer is, 4th of July is coming up. My sister might have a little something, so that's going to be that Saturday. So I might, go to the house, hang out a little bit, maybe, not much else to do. Like I said, I live in a very small town. You have to go the next town over. You want to get something decent to eat. Sometimes they got a little couple places here and there, but it used to be pretty good when somebody else ran them. The other people not the same, And also, I try to find things to keep myself busy during the week. I don't have much to do. Like I said, I don't have a job. I just put around the house. I even started working out in the morning. I take a break every so often because you know what? I'm not a spry chicken. I'm not a teenager anymore. I got knees like Stone Cold Steve Austin's office. Remember Stone Cold wear both the braces of both his knees. So, and I'm doing that because I want to be in a better condition, especially when I go out of town. When I go away, I don't want to be so. I don't know. I learned that from my trip with Tampa. Tampa is a different world down there. Even though we have weather here, but they're surrounded a lot more water than North Carolina is. North Carolina is a coastal state, but we're not as deep into the water like Florida is. And Tampa, it was experience. If you ever been to Tampa, you better prepare for that humidity. It is awful. It is killer. Shout out to man David driving me around. Picked me up from my motel and took me to the show. He drew me to the bus to the train station. I enjoyed my hanging out with my brother. He's my brother, but again, yeah, head of my girl. I'm sorry. I gotta let that go. Gotta let that go. It's not that serious, but it is because I'm sorry. I'm talking about other stuff. So. But I'd like to go to a few more shows if I can. Next year, if not the Master Olympia, maybe I might go to Atlanta because again, my oldest niece is up there. I can stay with her. I would cost of a motel, just pay the cost of Ubers and or ride shares. So, I can go back to the venue and check it out. Maybe set up some interviews, stay there. She can, and also one thing is, she was down here last weekend for Father's Day, and she's not the problem going back and forth. If I pay her for her time, that's what pay for the ride. And that saved me cost of a ticket. Just right out. It's about a good 5-6 hour drive from where I live here in Robertson County, North Carolina, to all the way to Atlanta. She lives outside of Atlanta. She lives like the suburbs of it. I got the address because I remember when I was hanging out with Kristen Ware, she drove me back home, and we got the address, and and shout out to Kristen Ware. Christina Ware. I mean, she's an amazing lady. If you've seen Christina, she has some new attachments. And if I go to Atlanta, maybe she competes there next year. I can see a new attachments. I mean, like, she's really cool. I've been picking up, saying, yeah, I'm just like, what you do looking at for? Saying, man, I'm a man. I'm gonna look when I see something like some titties. I'm gonna look. I mean, it's just a boob ass. She made. I think what it is, like a lot of ladies who get implants, it makes their body feel more even, especially up top. We all know, we as men see, breast as feminine. That is, not like it's not like the movie don't have implants. I like the natural pecs, but then still as a guy, when we see a nice pair of, some women go a little far. Like, good example, Isabel Terrell. Man says, I'd be scared to visit Atlanta after that poor show up in the lineup last year. Well, here's the problem. Again, it goes back to a lot of competitors were the cost of the last season. Remember the last season they had a good deep lineup, and this year Linda's not doing the Masters. So one lady who I interviewed right back, Alex, Blankenship. Alex is going to be doing Masters at both Chicago and both at Tampa. She actually competed last year at Tampa and Atlanta, but now this year not having the Masters, she's going to do Chicago. So shout out to Alex. She's a soul sister. She's half black, half Korean, so she's a soul sister. And we'll probably have a deep dive because I just saw an interview. Shout out to my man Glenn Young Sr., who is the editor and creator of Amazon Fitness Magazine. He just did an interview yesterday with Sheena Olick. Sheena has announced she's doing the show. Sherry Priyami is going to do the show. Nina Applefor is, aka Nina Beans. I think it's a few more. They hadn't announced officially yet. The show is going to be the week after the Tampa. So we're going to find out. And also I know of Megan Santa Barbara, who won the championship last year. I got to meet her when I was at Tampa. A couple more others who are going to compete this show. I think who else? I think Sharonka Hinton is going to be doing Atlanta, and I think she's going to do Tampa too. I think she mentioned it on her IG. And I met Sharonka. She's a lovely lady. She has an amazing body. Happy birthday to her wife, Chris Bull. Chris Bully, you big bully. Happy birthday to Chris. She follows me on IG. I want to shout her out. And Sharonka, she to me is the criteria of women's physique. She has amazing condition, amazing shape. She should be Miss Olympia. Push out Natalia, push out Sarah. I mean, no offense to Zama Benta. Zama is, I didn't get to meet Zama. I saw her when she compete, but I didn't get to say hello or anything like that. And that's one thing I loved. Like I said, again, when I was at Tampa, I got to meet people like Kathy, who's a bikini competitor who I got to meet. I got to meet Daphne Holmes. Daphne's been a guest on my channel. Wendy Grunk, she was there. I should have sent her something for Monica Johnson, because that's her coach. I got to see Angela Nori. She was walking the other way. Natasha is another competitor I could meet. Dawn Staley, she was there. Quite a few ladies who've been guests on my channel I got to meet. I got to finally get to meet my sister Eunice, her husband, Mr. Willie. I got to meet JoJo, her and her husband Rick. Shout out to Bad Rap again, what they're doing, stepping up. We need people to fight for women's bodybuilding to have a place. That's a good thing. I wish I can do more. I'm broke as a joke, but what I can do is what I have this platform, my YouTube channel. This is what I can do. I can talk about this, mention about this, and put it out there. So also, guys, I know you guys, you're a fan of these ladies, but do this. If they are pushing a product and it helps you and it's something you can use, buy it because you know what that money goes towards, especially especially bad rap. Like, hey, I want my shot Eunice, for these these lovely gifts. The hat I got when I was at Tampa, the hat she sent me a while back when all I did was order just this towel, just the towel, just this towel, and and she sent me this here. I gotta put these on my book bag. These stickers. I just ordered. I think I ordered stickers and the towel. I ordered these. I think I just ordered one sticker or there were two. I can't remember. And she sent me this lovely hat. And these I purchased, and she put my name on here. She got the Bad Rap logo, and then it says "All the Ways George." And put this next time I'm out, I gotta go get myself one of those, get myself a frame, and put it back here, and have it all the way George Page. Or I should have the Bad Rap. Or can I stretch it? Can I stretch it out like this? Where it has both. I'm debating. I could just switch it over every so often. I'm debating. This is a towel that I love my sister, and I thank you for giving me this. This beautiful letter. I know I still got in the box. And I appreciate it. This beautiful letter she sent me. I think it was last month when I got this stuff. What she tells me says, "My brother, thank you for your patience and all your support. The most joyful part of this venture has been the people I have met and the new friends that I have made throughout this bad rap journey with a heart. You are truly a blessing and a miracle in my life. You are the best, George. I hope you like your personal life. Oh, thank you. It took a little longer than I thought, and then the weather was bad that I did not want to get drenched going to pick it up. LOL, laughing my last one. And I might melt. Your new cap is made to last and uh, very whatever warm. Hopes you keep me warm on colder days. Have a great week and enjoy. Love you, Eunice. And this she got Wonder Woman on the top, and she got the hearts. And this is why doing this content. Some ladies I would say, genuine friends. Some women I'm friendly with, others I think I best to keep my distance because as men we can sense something about a woman, particularly. I remember when I went to Savannah and I got to meet Donna Salid, and we hadn't been talking too much. I know Donna stepped away from bodybuilding. I reach out to her maybe one of these days, say, hey, what's up? How you doing? I know she had a birthday some time ago. I think I did post something on for her birthday, but I think I didn't. I missed it. Sorry, Donna. But she was so nice and kind. We talked social media. I was hoping to get an interview with her, but I know maybe I'll ask her, later down the road whenever she feels like she's ready, because I know she took a break from social media. But one person I meet, whose name I did not speak. I met her, and I got a picture of her. And again, this woman has an amazing body. She had great potential, but personalized wise, it's like with the other woman I met when I was in Tampa. And you can sense how somebody's personality is. You can sense it. Humans, we sometimes we need to follow our sixth sense. The thing that tells us it's not it's the thing that tells us what, you look pretty on the outside, but there's something about you on the inside just not right. That's the thing that's doing this. You learned that. And some ladies I'm still in contact with. That's why people like Nicole and Beverly, I appreciate they took the time out, to come on to yesterday's live. I'm pretty sure I met David. Pretty sure I met KL. He just did a live with a lovely lady, and I reached out to her and really get an interview with her. Doing this content is something that gives me a purpose. Because after the person I love the most, and that's my mother, she's gone. It's just Not the same. I don't like I said again. I have family. I got sister. One of my oldest sister lives like just no more than a block or so across the next other side of where I live at. Got nephews and nieces around the way. My great nieces not as close with me because they live with their mamas and all that stuff like that. But I have family. But the difference between when you have family than when you have your own family, and I don't have that. That's what was my fault. I should have put myself out in the world. I should have. I was kind of a bit of an introvert, but I think now I got older, I come out of my shell a bit. But again, that's the regret. I have to face that. I didn't make those choices and shoot the gun. Now maybe there was some women. There maybe the white woman was there, or I had high standards. That's my fault. I have to live with that. You know. Maybe I'm not gonna. I know I'm a 4. Try to shoot for an 8. But hey, can a man dream? You know. But I'm trying to find something to give me a purpose, something to keep myself, both my mind and my spirit busy. And doing this content is the thing that does that. It keeps me, both my mind and my spirit busy. It gives me something to do. Like I said, reaching out for interviews, hoping to get some on sometime by next week or this week. Work out some content, posting stuff. Some ladies really appreciate that stuff. Others don't. So if you don't, that's on you. So forget you. I have some ladies who block me on IG for whatever reason. You know what? I don't care. That's on you. I'm trying to promote and get some attention for you, but you don't want it. That's fine. I don't need no static. I don't need no problems. Don't want drama. We don't want. When I used to club, I was watching. They having 8 Ball MJG been doing some stuff like they did the tiny table. They did the front porch thing. And and I used to remember when some of that stuff come on, the girls in the club used to dance hard because he used to go like, "Don't make me cute," like when that 8 Ball MJG come on, those girls be because hey, they did be going like do 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 spinning the pole. They be like, guys be like, "Hey man, that's the thing." They were getting entertained. That's why I do this to entertain you guys. You guys are family. I appreciate when I get comments. One of my I always post like some videos and stuff. A shout out to the lovely Miss Terry, Mrs. Terry Ivy. Her son commented in one of the videos. So that's his mama, and I appreciate he's the one who's a cowboy. I appreciate that, son. I appreciate you, supporting your mama. Yes, your mama is your woman. You can have a wife and a girlfriend, but you only can have one mama. And if you lose her, I tell you this, you can never replace her. You can never find somebody to replace that. And it's good that you're a young man supporting your mama. He's also does he's a cowboy. He was doing some little barrel riding stuff like, but then somehow his horse. So if somebody's interested in working out with him, hey, you can find that video, you can find his name and reach out to him and support him. But time is flying by, folks. It seems like we just started 2026. Now we're over the hump. And we're going to the 7th month. So, and in another few months, I'm going to be 52. Yes. I'm 52. 51 right now, but I'm going to be 52. I've known family members who live past 50. I have an uncle and maybe a couple of family members. But I'm hoping to live past it. I want to, with life comes age. I like to age gracefully if I can. That's all I want to do. I want to stay above the ground just a little bit longer. I know my time's going to come. It's not certain, but it happens to all of us. We're humans. But the sad part of it, I don't want to leave too soon. That's why I'm trying to do these things to help me out and to help me do better. Work stuff no more. Try to change my eating habits. That's the tough part of it. I was taking but it just made me feel weird. It made me feel like and my doctor prescribed me something, but I meant my pharmacy didn't send it to me, so that's good. I just gotta have work with self-control. That's the thing about it. Food is something that I think, especially with my past and also with my mom, it was something that really helped. Just the taste and the feel of it. Again, it's like anything. I've never been a drinker. I've never been a smoker. Sipped a little bit here and there, maybe smoke a little bit, but not nothing heavy, like like no, not the wacky stuff. Cigarettes, maybe took my sister's cigarettes and smoked them like when I was younger, but that was just a period. But I never had that. I was never addicted to that. Food was something else. That's addiction. It's hard to break that addiction. Like any kind of drug, it makes you feel good. Sugar is almost like cocaine in a way. It says that it's even more addictive. I love sweets. I was talking to one lady. She's getting with her preps, and she is a child. She didn't like sweets. I said, I know it's a little careless sweets. I remember my mom used to bake cakes and pies and stuff like that, and make sweet potato bread and banana pudding. I used to love that. I used to love that more. And I know I buy sweets every now and then, but I'm trying to break away from that. I am trying. I'm not gonna be perfect. But the thing is, you're never gonna be perfect. You're gonna have some drawbacks every now and then, especially trying to lose weight. Um, I was doing pretty good one time, but then I wasn't drinking enough water. I wasn't, that's one thing. You need to drink more water. That's what we're trying to do. Where I live at, I buy bottled water. Town water is not that good. It's good for washing clothes, dishes, and taking a shower. But you make your skin dry out, so you got to use some lotion. Got to put the lotion on the skin and put it in again. But it's a battle, struggle. I could probably reach out to some of these people that will say, they tell me that I want to do this on my own first, see how I do. If I fail, I fail. And again, I can't afford to pay you. I know 1%, you don't have to pay me. No, I don't want to take advantage of our friendship, and sometimes I'm a person that I'm kind of, it's funny. I'm a fat man, but I'm a picky eater. Honestly, I mean, there's some things I don't eat, but I just recently started, eating spinach, like Popeye spinach, and I'm learning how to cook it because it helps. It's a great refuge. It's a superfood, as I was told. And, when I try to get away from the fried stuff, every now and then was out one day. I did buy like a 3-piece dark chicken from the gas station. It used to be back in the day. It was really great, but it's subpar compared to when the other people used to own it. It was two chicklings in a thigh. I like dark meat. Dark meat. Fried white meat's kind of dry, like breast. And I eat chicken wings, but not so much the breast. That's really dry. You have to really. It's almost dry as turkey. And one thing I heard, ground turkey is good for you, so I need to buy more of that. I buy ground chicken. Ground turkeys are good to you. I mean, so listen to the link about how ground turkey is better. Helps you out. So I might, I'm working on some things and learning what things to cook and how to work with it. How to prep. I prep more so when I have situations where, like when I do my lives, I usually try to eat around 5 o'clock. I try to do that religiously, but sometimes when I do my lives on Mondays, I would do my live. My live yesterday, I ate afterwards. I cooked. I had some chopped chicken, some leftover rice. I just added some broccoli to it, and that was my supper for that day. And even so, I want to snack something afterwards, but that's one thing I need to break that habit of because I'll be hankering for something. Right now, I'm hankering right now. I just had some water this morning, and right now my groceries are getting a little low because it's about the end of the month, and my check don't drop till Thursday. So, I have to, whatever I got left in my kitchen, I have to make it work. But that helps also those donations if you're a pleasure of sending them to, because that helps me. I put towards also groceries. So like I say, I used to get this thing, with United Health, where used to give us healthy choices stuff. That helped me buy groceries and also pay some bills. But they changed the price. So it used to be a little more, but they dropped it down to, $200. Come on. It was like $300. And that's $300 goes a long way when you have it. But $200, by the time you pay my light bill and a couple of things, it's already gone. $300 was good. I mean, they did this shit because I hope this thing will go back to politics. I don't talk about politics much because, but then I live in the States as a camp where we had a leader understand that people struggles out here. Not this. You put a fool in the place of you put a fool. He's quite literally. I mean, anytime he comes on, I feel like one thing he's good at is conning people. And you know what? Here's something I'm gonna say. 2016, Joe Biden should have ran. We should not put all the eggs in the basket with Hillary Clinton. Joe Biden should have ran. People were willing to vote for an old white man. They would have voted for him more than they would have voted for Donald Trump. And what would happen was Trump would have lost that first election against Biden. Then try to run in 2020. Then he loses. And after that, even Elon Musk tried to cheat for him. He wouldn't go back because his ego was burst. He still can't let go fast. He lost in 2020. But the fact was, you failed. You failed. You were a failed experiment. And people are too stupid to realize that. You weren't worth shit. Shitty nigga. That's what you are. You're an old man. You seek more than Biden did. So Biden has little hiccups in there, but hey, the man did a lot more. And the thing was, like Obama, who had to fight against racists in not just his party, not just in the opposite party, but also in his own party. People didn't want to call a black man Mr. President. People didn't want that because because even though you don't say I'm not racist, you're prejudiced as hell. Here's the thing about job by president. Most of these people who come in this job don't have, other than what the spirit says, politics and stuff like that. You don't come in, and Donald Trump. Just 2020, after 2020, we were doing pretty good. We would say, well, there was the war. We never were really we had like some issues and little squabbles with Iran, but we never really in war with them. Nothing. And you were in negotiations. Instead of just you want to bomb these people. And you killed a bunch of people. Little girls too. Good morning, James Henry. Thank you for coming through, brother. I appreciate you. It's been a long time since you've been on. But this is where right now, people like myself who are on disability, we're going to suffer. I'm seeing it bit by bit. Like one thing, I get a bill from my doctor. I usually don't get, that's why one thing I hadn't gone back to him because you know what? I know I need to go back to him because I need to get my vitals checked and, my prescriptions refilled. And because I'm going on this trip, I most definitely need some shots because, there's stuff going on right now. And I think I most definitely need some shots. I need to, protect myself, because, I'm going someplace else and, things happen. So I think next month I want to set up an appointment. This month we'll try the month after that before my trip. But I will let y'all know. I will have a live. I will tell you where I'm going. I will tell you the 2 places I'm going. And if you want to help in those for that shout out, you can go to one of my lives, also my Cash App. If you are in the United States, and that's the thing. Cash App works. Cash App or Venmo. I forget what my Venmo is. I need to put this phone is old. I don't need it, but this phone here is better. I've been doing a lot of stuff on this phone lately, but this phone is slow. You have to clean up the cinch every other day. I'm going to get a phone next month, but you can go find my Cash App. It is All the Rage page. If anybody wants to be invited, I get up $500. So, it's all $ All the Rage page. If you also, I think, got a QR code here. So if you can scan my QR code, and if you want to donate, go to my lives and, send me a little something. I can use it. I appreciate it too. I had some guy a while back, I think it was not you, Jane, it was somebody sent me $10. And I appreciate that $10. That was $10 I had a little more to help for the laundry for the week. Actually, it went to my account, I'm by part to pick up something, but I still do my laundry. I got to do it this week. I do it on Saturday. Every couple times a month. That's what saves me money because you go to the laundromat every other week. That's money you're burning. So I started doing it a while back where I go every couple of weeks out of the month to do my laundry. So, and I got to get some money because where my laundromat, we still go by coins. I know some laundromats go by cards and they go by, debits and stuff like that. But this guy who runs it, it's old fashioned, coin change here. The thing is, if the change machine breaks down, it's going to be time. There's only a couple of places we can go to get change. Used to be just a restaurant, but that restaurant got burnt down a while back. Wow, I'm surprised when I saw it. We used to be right there. If you know South Border, that used to remember when it used to be another restaurant. I used to go there when I worked the club and get quarters because we had guys playing pool a lot at the club, and sometimes we run out of quarters. I had to go over there get quarters. Had a quarter machine, and there's a guy arcade, and that's the only place you get quarters at. And they do have a machine, but the machine breakdown. Most stores don't want to give you quarters because some are cool with it, some are cool with it, but others can be assholes. So it's just hey, we're just changing. He can stick more quarters there, but the pennies no longer in circulation, but they still exist, and quarters still exist. But like I said, it's rambling because, like I said, there's not much else on to do. I mean, just watch some reruns, watch cartoons, take my medication, chill out, work on some videos, and think about what I'm gonna do for the rest of the week. Plan out my shopping. I gotta do some pickup stuff on Friday. See what my sister's gonna do something for 4th, make with her house, and wait on Slade's back on some interviews. Here, ladies, if you want to do an interview, some things I need for you. I need your email address so I can send you a link for StreamYard. I'm gonna need some pictures because sometimes I pull pictures from I've done used to do where I just pull pictures from a thing and somebody says I like those pictures. I say okay, send me some pictures you feel like you want me to use, and I use those pictures because and that's why I request. And also information. So when I go to interview, I don't go in here just blindness. I can when I post on my social media, I can tell a story of who you are. And I have somebody say they don't like the fact. Here's the thing: you wasn't always a bodybuilder. You started as somebody else. And you want to see that process go over time. And that's why, one lady, she would like the fact that I do that because she said, why you find some old pictures? Where you find them? Well, just Google you. It's not that hard. If your name's out there, just sort through it. Google show you all the different types of whoever you have your name. And if it's you exactly, then I know where to find you at. Some ladies are still on Facebook. And Facebook can read those pictures. There's another site called Sardis. Sardis will have some of the pictures. Most like the competition stuff and training stuff, and but the personal stuff like like who you are in your life, or who how you move, how you dress, those stuff also tell a story about who you are. That's the thing is when I post, I want to tell a story from who you were who you started off is to who you are now. That's my style. Something I worked on. Laundromats take cards. Now that's crazy and insane. I remember the OG quarters. My laundromat here, we have 2 here. At one point we had 3, but one closed down years ago. We have 2. They still take quarters. You got to take these quarters. I remember one guy. His name was Bosco. He was a cousin of a friend of mine. We went on a trip. He had a bunch of these quarters. He said, "Oh, I got these quarters." He had this check. We had to find some place to cash the check. We found some place. It was a Food Lion. We were at Myrtle Beach. And I from some money, and he's paid back in quarters. And I use those quarters to, my mom. If he's washing clothes, so I give my mom the quarters in exchange for cash. Quarters, hey, still money, still spendable. I got these quotas. But yeah, there's still some laundromats that still do quarters. But yeah, most of them are going over because most people don't carry cash. I think I have $1 in my wallet. $1. Because most of the time I don't carry cash. One time, if I need cash, I have to go to the bank, go to ATM, get cash. Because there's still places that still take cash. Like when I get my hair cut. By that time, I think I'm gonna cut my hair. Maybe right before my trip. Be a little more clean cut. Starting to grow. It's starting to grow. Maybe yeah. Maybe that recommend a barber shop. That means a good barber shop. Can get this lined up and taken care of. I want to be nice, clean looking. I don't want to be like scruffy looking. It's starting to grow back already. It takes. I think the last time I got my haircut was right about mid-April? Yeah, after mid-April. Now it's already the end of June and the beginning of July. So I might get a haircut later on this month. Next month. So look a little presentable. I'm getting a little scraggy. Actually get a shaving kit. I have issues when it comes to, especially for Black person. We our hair naturally curly, and our skin it kind of irritates a bit. So that's why I don't want to get I need to get some kind of thing. Maybe see a dermatologist. One of my shirts, I think my shirt, my seed is more of a, what's the word for it? It's more of a aesthetic. I think it's a, when some surgery stuff like that is considered not necessary, and some surgeons won't cover it. You know, some doctors won't cover because they don't see it as essential. So I need my, I got some in my ear. You know, looks like a blackhead or something. I remember my sister. I have these little holes to call my devil holes. Well, I learned this from this I watched this thing on PBS is because humans were originally were this is a fish. These are gills right here. It's not piercing. It's like it's a gill I have. Sometimes stuff get into it. My sister called my devil holes. So I used to clean them out when I was younger. You know, because what it is, it's a form of it's a kind of gills from when we were amphibious creatures, humans. We evolved over time and centuries. So I'm gonna be on much longer, guys. Like I said, I just came on here just to shoot shit a little bit, talk about some plans, things I got coming up. I got come check tomorrow's live. Muscle Talk Monday. Today's Muscle Talk Monday. Later this afternoon, me and a couple of people on here will talk about some stuff. I know y'all fans. Again, I'm just shooting the shit with y'all. I do this every. I think I do this every end of the month. I do live my IG first of the month. I do a live on here. I mean, should do a live on my Facebook. Probably not. Facebook. I think everybody's moving away from Facebook, even though that Instagram owns Facebook. Everybody's kind of moving away from Facebook. A lot of ladies shut down because IG is very more popular. Twitter, I don't even I still call it Twitter. It's not just Twitter. Maybe I get a TikTok. Maybe I do a TikTok live. Yeah, I use this phone. This phone's pretty good. I'm thinking about getting a new phone. This phone is cracked. It's getting old. I had it for a long time, and I think it's time that I was originally this phone was supposed to be taking the place of this phone, but then there was a new number on here. And what makes it so great because I have my first IG account, and I'm really growing that account. I'm really growing that account because it's good because remember my second account was hacked, so I got a new account, and my current account is connected to another number. But still, I can use this phone to connect to it. And also, I use my tablet. It's an old tablet. I can't even use because it's old. I couldn't even use YouTube on that tablet, so I just deleted it. But I used to cut my videos. I just cut a video with when I had interviews from Brittany Felicia, from Amanda Riddlehover, and also the lovely Mrs. Terry Ivy. It's on there. Check it out. They're giving their thoughts and their critiques of what criteria for it for the bodybuilding divisions. I appreciate that. So anyway, I'd like to thank y'all for coming through, listening to me, just ramble on a little bit. Shout out to man James Henry. Shout out to Ken. Shout out to Finn. Shout out to Jeff. Again, folks, go check me out later today. You want to come on, join, and also, like I said again, if you want to know how to donate, you can go find that. I have my PayPal, my Venmo, and my Cash App in the streaming on the live. And if you want to donate and help me out, I appreciate it. I truly do. I want to say thank you. I wish I could pay you back financially, but I do pay you back with a thank you. So anyway, folks, this is me. I'm going out, and I'm going to enjoy the rest of my day. So should you. And reach me on my WeChat page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk. Like, donate, subscribe. I'm out. Have a good morning, good night, good afternoon, and good evening, and good luck. And enjoy the rest of your week.